And good morning. Welcome to Your Vote Counts. There was a lot of election news this week. There was also a lot of legislative news, and a lot of that legislative news is education. Big move by the Speaker in the House of Representatives.
Yeah, big announcement this week from the Speaker of the House on education. His plan, look, I'm just going to be straight with you. I think one of the biggest issues with this plan is tying school choice voucher money to overall spending in education. It's a mistake to tie the two together. Do we need more money in education? 100%. Everybody's asking for that. But if you look at recent polls on school choice, it is way down. Almost 80% of people don't want private tax dollars or public tax dollars going to private schools. This plan ties all of that together, doesn't allow the two things to be voted on separately. I think it's a big problem, especially because the way that it is, anyone that's in a private school will be able to have immediate money to already pay for the private school they're already paying for. It just doesn't make sense.
Okay, so earlier we heard from Senator Pugh, and we were not really sure how much of Senate leadership was behind his plan. But this one, we're sure all of House is behind, at least your caucus.
Well, it passed out of, so let's jump a little bit into what we're talking about. We're talking about Speaker McCall's plan that passed out of the House full A and B committee that would add $500 million to education. Largest education budget in the history of the state of Oklahoma. More money than former Superintendent Hoffmeister or current Superintendent Walters asked for, and would tie it with a $5,000 refundable tax credit that could be used for school choice. Politicians like to talk about polling. I think we had a great poll, and the great poll was last November when the citizens of the state of Oklahoma overwhelmingly told us what they wanted. We've been saying it on this show: historic education funding and more choice for parents. This is going to be the new gold standard for how you get this done. It was a great job by Speaker McCall.
Okay, so it's running down the road now. Also, there's a lot of activity over there in that House committee that deals with education. Now we're looking at really changing the way that the State Board of Education board is made up.
So there's lots of talk now. Education is going to be a massive topic right now, and there's lots of talk right now about how are we going to do the State Board of Education? Should we have additional legislative appointments inside the State Board of Education? This bill is going to continue to work its way through the process, and what I love about all of this topic, we're all talking about how do we make education better in the state of Oklahoma for all kids. More money in public education, more parental choice so they can do what's best for their kids. And do we have the right voices around our Board of Education? This is shaping up to be a historically good education year in the legislature, and really excited to see it.
All right, so they run everything, right? I mean, they have the numbers on everything, but there's obviously some disagreements internally in Republican politics about what it should look like, education reform, that is.
Absolutely. Well, it didn't take us very long to jump right into a bunch of education policy. We all knew that this was going to take place this session along with tax reform. And on the changes to the State Board of Education, if you think about it, your local Board of Education is elected, so you have some say in that. Right now in the State Board of Education, you don't have much say in that because of the way the appointments are done. This would give more say because your elected legislature would have more say in who is going to be on the State Department of Education board, which is making big decisions for your kids in your public schools. And let me reiterate, your public schools, where we're supposed to spend public tax dollars, not give those public tax dollars to private schools.
Okay, well, speaking of elections, there were some big ones locally this week, and a big one coming up. We'll be talking about that in our next segment. And welcome back. There were elections this week. We'll talk about that, but there were some elections in March we're going to start talking about early. Some of the information about the weed vote in March is not correct, so we're going to start clearing it up right away beforehand. Your thoughts about why is this bill, or why is this election happening?
So here's what's happening on March 7th. The citizens of the state of Oklahoma are going to have an opportunity to decide whether or not they want to allow recreational marijuana. Now, I get emails all the time. Why did the legislature do this? Why did the governor do this? The legislature didn't, and the governor didn't. This was an initiative petition where signatures were gathered. I will tell you, I love the criminal justice reform inside this initiative petition. I would vote for that as a standalone in a heartbeat. I am not for recreational marijuana. I'm not for what it does to our kids, and frankly, I don't think we suffer in Oklahoma from not enough weed. So I wish if this doesn't pass, the legislature will take up the criminal justice reform element of this. But that's what's going on March 7th.
It's like I can see the poster now. Not enough weed, vote in March. Okay, so we know it's not put there by the legislature or the governor. The citizens put it there. What's in it?
Yeah, so this was a signature petition that went out. Now, I will remind the viewers at home that this should have been on the November election, the general election, you know, when we voted for lots of other things and we were all thinking about voting. But instead, the governor has placed this on the first Tuesday of March. If you all are scratching your head thinking, why do we have a statewide election in March? That's the reason why. But this is a State Question 820 on recreational marijuana, making it legal in Oklahoma. I agree with my colleague. I love the criminal justice reform piece in this. But you, as the voters at home, need to make sure you understand every bit of it. You can look it up online, make sure you're an informed voter, and get out to vote in March.
Okay, get that Google machine going is what you're saying. Okay, so meanwhile, back in February, big local elections of impact this week.
Yeah, we had Valentine's Day elections this week here in Oklahoma City and a number of other cities around the state. Our Oklahoma City Council brought back 3 of their incumbents, and then there's one runoff. Interesting race. There was some contention in a couple of them here in the Oklahoma City Council, but for the most part, the Oklahoma City Council is going to keep the same makeup that has had in the past. Also, the special election for the county clerk, you've got Scobie and Marissa Treat that are moving forward for the general election in March. That's going to be decided coming up in March, and a lot of local votes taking place right now.
There were local elections. Your thoughts?
So we did see, I mean, some of these city council races were heated, they were contested, but at the end of the day, the 3 incumbents won. The runoff we have is for an open seat. That's going to be a very contested race with 2 really good people on there. The big election coming up in the Oklahoma County area is going to be for against Pastor Derek Scobie, against Marissa Treat. Those are 2 qualified individuals. I think it's going to make for a good run for what happens inside our county government. The key here in all of this is local elections matter. Go out and vote the first week of March, that first Tuesday of March. Make your voice heard.
Thanks for watching Your Vote Counts. See this again at news9.com/yourvotecounts and follow me on Twitter @RachelTalks.